Mr. Anderson, could you please turn on all the lights in the auditorium? My dancers will be here soon. Lindsay pulled the curtains on the stage as Mr. Anderson mopped the aisles down the auditorium. Lindsay and Mr. Anderson both worked at the SA Theater in Manhattan, New York. Lindsay had been working there for about a year, and Mr. Anderson was the janitor. They were the first of all people who would be arriving at the theater every morning. Lindsay was about to walk down the stage when she noticed something in the corner of her eye. Someone was laying motionless backstage. Lindsay ran to see it was one of her dancers, Evelyn White. She quickly checked if she was breathing. Mr. Anderson, call an ambulance immediately. Evelyn White was a 21-year-old young woman. She was an aspiring ballerina, one of Lindsay's most talented dancers. Lindsay had been training a few young women for their solo performances at the theater, and Evelyn was the first to perform today. It will be your time to shine, Evelyn. All eyes will be on you, so take care of yourself. I know, Miss Lindsay. I'm so excited for the show. I'll give my best. This could be the beginning of a great career, Evelyn. We still have a few more days. Don't miss out on practice. Of course not, Miss Lindsay. I've been practicing day and night. Evelyn was confident. She was always cheerful and looked at the positive side of things, even if sometimes there weren't any. Lindsay took pride in Evelyn. She was a very good dancer, and Evelyn never gave up. She was a motivation to the other ballerinas as well. Lindsay went along with the paramedics who pulled Evelyn into the ambulance. She knew Evelyn lived all by herself. There was no one who could look after her. Lindsay not only instructed her dancers, but she had a strong bond with them. She couldn't just leave Evelyn in this state. Lindsay sat by Evelyn in the hospital room, waiting for her to regain her consciousness. The doctors had examined her and said she was fine and would be waking up soon. After a while, the door burst open. It was Mr. Jones, the production manager at the theater. How did this happen? How will she perform? The show is tonight. I don't know, Mr. Jones. Right now, all I care about is her health. Forget about the show. Forget about the show? Do you know how much money will go down the drain? You have to call in her understudy as soon as possible. We can figure something out later. But Mr. Jones, this is so strange. You don't think someone intentionally tried to harm my dancers? But the rest of the ballerinas weren't supposed to be at the theater until 10. How did she get there at this time, or did she not leave the theater at all? This isn't the first time something strange like this has happened here. There were other performers at this theater some time back who experienced strange things. They ended up quitting their jobs and leaving. Well, that could be a possibility. She stayed back late. All the performers have a spare key to the theater. That's what I'm trying to say. This must be planned. This can't be a coincidence. I don't know if someone's been planning this. I've actually heard a lot of rumors about this theater being haunted. It's rare, but I've heard some complaints before and some stories of previous performers, some singers and dancers, reported feeling dizzy and nauseated, sometimes cold on the stage. Some have complained of seeing hovering figures roaming the auditorium, and sometimes they even say they hear something or someone constantly humming in the background. Haunted? No, out of all the explanations, that can't be it. I know, it's all bogus, but I can't seem to think of anybody who would want to harm Evelyn. Just then, Lindsay and Jones noticed Evelyn move her finger. She was waking up. Evelyn opened her eyes and looked around. She sat up looking startled and afraid. "Evelyn, what happened to you? I found you unconscious on the floor backstage." I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know? What happened?" "Miss Lindsay, yesterday after practice, I packed up with the rest of the ballerinas at 8 as usual, and I left the theater. But when I got home, I realized I left my cell phone. It was about 10 at night. I took my spare key and returned. By the time I got here, it was past 11. I unlocked the door and went straight to the dressing room to search for my cell phone. I've never visited the theater in the middle of the night before. It was so dark and scary. The lights in the auditorium were turned off and the curtains on the stage were drawn. I found my cell phone on the makeup table in the dressing room. I planned to quickly lock up and leave, when I heard someone singing in the hallway. The voice was mesmerizing. I had never heard someone singing so beautifully before. I was tempted to see who it was, so I left my things and went out. When I opened the door, the hallways were empty. I could still hear the music. It seemed to be coming from the stage. First, I was confused. I didn't expect anyone to be performing so late at night, but then I thought perhaps the theater was hosting a private show. I opened the backstage door. I was sure someone was performing on stage. I walked up to the curtains to take a peek. But when I peered through the curtains, I was shocked. The whole auditorium was packed with guests. Not a single seat was left vacant. They were cheering on the singer. All the lights were on and everything was decorated. I tried to put my head a little out to catch a glimpse of the young woman that was performing. All I could see was her long blonde hair and shiny red earrings. That was when someone in the audience spotted me. Suddenly, the whole auditorium fell silent, as if you could hear a pin drop. All attention was on me instead of her. It was just then I heard a loud, piercing cry. It was in a blink. Everyone in the auditorium vanished. What I saw and heard frightened me to my bone. It was so real. I felt the rhythm of the music vibrating under my feet. At that point, I was sure there was something wrong, but I couldn't move. I was frozen with fear. Like after that. And I fainted. This can't be. I knew I should have asked you early. Evelyn, have you been taking something lately? Some medication or rather something crazy? It sounds like you've been hallucinating. No, Miss Lindsay. I wouldn't compromise my career for anything. Wait a minute. If this really happened, was there anyone else who witnessed all these people in the theater? None of the other ballerinas were with me, but I know this sounds unbelievable. But trust me, the theater was full of people. At nearly 12 at night, I don't even think there are any blonde singers that work here. Impossible. I've never arranged any late night shows. You must have hit your head in the dark or something and fainted. You need rest. I'm just worried about the show tonight. Lindsay and Mr. Jones didn't believe Evelyn, but Evelyn was sure about what she saw the night before. She was discharged from the hospital later that day and returned home. She couldn't forget what happened. The next day, when she went to the theater, she decided to ask Mr. Anderson about the young woman she saw performing last night. Mr. Anderson had been working at the theater for a long time, maybe over a decade. He was sure to know everyone here. I don't know anyone of that description, Evelyn. This theater doesn't host any shows after 8. But there is one thing I've heard over the years I've been working here. This happened about 30 years ago, when this theater first opened. There was a woman named Catherine Wells who worked here. She was a singer. Not just any singer. She had an amazing voice. And she was praised greatly for her talent. People would often ask her to sing for them, but she always refused, saying the theater hosted a special night just for her. When news got around, tickets were sold out within the first day. The night was going well. Catherine sang like she never sang before. Suddenly, in the middle of her performance, she dropped to the ground right on the stage. By the time she was taken to the hospital, she passed away. Doctors said the cause of her death was a sudden heart attack. Perhaps you could find a news article about her. Evelyn immediately searched up Catherine Wells. She was shocked to see a picture of the young woman's performance 30 years ago. The long blonde hair, the glimmering red earrings. This is the same woman I saw. Evelyn was terrified to have experienced something out of this world. She became so paranoid that she stopped going to the theater after that day. The following year, Evelyn decided to move to California for college. Many of her college friends and professors told her she was wasting a special talent she had. So Evelyn joined the theater at the SA University there and started performing again. She stepped out of the curtains, staring at the large gathering of people at the university. Evelyn was a little nervous, but she smiled through the stage fright as she held her microphone. As her melodious voice echoed through the auditorium, the crowd listened to her in awe. Evelyn isn't a ballerina anymore. She's a singer. She can't explain how she did it. She's never sung in her life, nor has she taken any singing classes. But ever since that night, she's discovered she has an extraordinary talent.
If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and family.